brother and Richie, Trisha's brother, kept beating her at anything, even at the rhubarb eating contest.
Excellent, thank you. So yes, we have our two main characters of Trisha and Richie. They are brother and sister, and we know that Richie is 4 years older than Trisha, and they are always in competition with each other, right? Trisha always wants to beat him at something, but it seems like Richie is the one who wins at everything. He's the fastest, he's the strongest. She even tried to trick him into eating the raw rhubarb. Oh, I need to show you guys a picture of that today. And he ended up beating her. So we know, based on our character traits so far, that Trisha is very competitive and jealous of her older brother, Richie. So where we left off was, and you guys can put your whiteboards down, she was with her bubby, remember her grandmother, and they were looking up at the stars, and she saw a shooting star, and she wished upon a shooting star. And we predicted that she wished for something that she could beat him in. So let's keep reading to find out. Can you all hear me?
No, yeah.
Okay.
I can't hear a bit. Yeah, and I cannot see the words on the paper.
Right, you're not going to be able to see the words. Okay. Thank you, guys. All right. Okay. The next morning, all I could think about was my wish. I was thinking about it so hard, I almost didn't notice the wagons and the trucks pulling into the field down the road near Four Corners. A traveling carnival, my brother shouted as he ran toward me. They're setting up right here in our field. I bet I can eat more hot dogs than you can, he teased. He was already starting it, but this time I was going to do something so incredible that even he would have to sit up and take notice. I had a star wish. I'd shown my rotten redheaded brother all right. Miss Todd, can you hear me?
Yes, you're totally fine.
That's
no issues.
Okay. Everyone else is, that's good. Everyone's frozen on my end, so that's why I keep asking.
I can see.
Okay. I'm going to keep going then. And just hope for the best. Sorry, guys. So we now know that there's a traveling carnival. A carnival has come to their town, and she has thought of an idea of how she can beat her older brother. Make a prediction on your whiteboard right now. What do you think she's going to try to beat him in? We know a carnival has rides and games and a carousel. What do you think she's going to beat him in? Make a quick prediction on your whiteboard. All right, Miss Todd, will you call on someone for me? Hold up your whiteboard.
Beat him in darts. Going to try to beat him, trick him into dancing. I like these predictions.
Good predictions. Yeah, I think it has to do with the carnival for sure. Okay. That night, I ran straight for the merry-go-round. Raise your hand if you've ever gone on the merry-go-round before, where there's usually like a horse. It's like a carousel, and you ride the horse, and you go around and around. And based on what I see, she seems to really enjoy the merry-go-round. That night, I ran straight for the merry-go-round. I must have taken 50 turns on that carousel. But then my brother got off. I stayed on. I went around and around and around. I knew I could do this longer than you, I shouted to my brother, feeling proud, but feeling a bit dizzy. Trisha, I heard my bubby call out, get off of that thing. It's time to go home. So we've discovered what she's trying to beat him in. So she's still competing with him, and she now is riding the carousel longer than him. 50 times is a long time. We see her face. Okay. The last thing I remember was stepping off from the platform. The next thing I knew, I woke up with Bubby sitting on the edge of my bed. My mom and Grandpa were there too. You gave us all a fright, Mama said. How do you feel? Gave us a fright means like you scared us. What happened? I asked. You fell, my rotten redheaded older brother announced with the biggest grin on his face. I don't know what we would have done, my bubby said. Your brother carried you all the way home, and then he ran to get Dr. Lee. Wow. So she fell off when she stepped off the carousel, she fell because she was so dizzy, and she must have hit her head and almost like passed out, and her brother carried her all the way home and then ran to get the doctor. It's pretty awesome. Can you write down a character trait right now that describes Richie in this moment? So I want you to write down a character trait, one word describing Richie at this moment, taking her and carrying her home and to the doctor. Give me a character trait for Richie. And hold it up. Hold up your whiteboard. Miss Todd, if you could call on someone for me because mine are still frozen.
Get this job. Jules, it looks like you wrote a lot. What did you write?
That he's caring and very happy.
Yes, he's caring.
Lily?
Helpful.
Nice.
Helpful. Natalie?
I wrote that he was thoughtful, and I feel like he was worried and very nervous.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I agree. We've kind of seen a little bit of a character shift in him, right?
I'm even sorry. I got to call out one more. Kaden, read yours.
Kind, brave, respectful, and nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that bravery piece too. You know, that was very brave to carry her home and then run to get the doctor. So we've seen a change in his personality. All of those are great character traits. Caring, helpful, brave, wonderful. Good job. You guys can put your whiteboards down. You had to have stitches. I watched it all, he said excitedly. He probably thought that was cool. So she must have hit her head or something and she had to get stitches. You fell off the merry-go-round into some pop bottles, my Gramps added. You even passed out, my brother chirped. Looks like you finally did something special. It was from that exact moment that our relationships changed somehow. Thanks, Richie, I said to him. What's a big brother for, anyway? He said, blushing. So blushing is when your cheeks get kind of red. You're kind of a little bit embarrassed. But we've seen a shift. Like I said, this is a big turning point for Richie. And he's showing that he really does love and care for his little sister Trisha very much. He still thinks very highly of himself, that he can beat her in a lot of things, but we've seen that he also really, really loves her.
Good morning, everybody, and pardon this interruption. If you have any report cards that need to be mailed mail.
And there she is.
To Ivy's office by 9 o'clock.
And there he is talking with her. She's on the mend. That night, we were all out in the yard. On hot Michigan nights, it was my family's custom, which is like a tradition, to sleep outside where it was cool. Look at those stars, Bubby said. Wishes are funny, aren't they? I said. Sometimes they come true differently than you think they will. That's why you have to be careful what you wish for. It just may come true, Bubby said. Then she squeezed both of our hands. Hang on to that grass, she whispered. Why, Bub? My brother asked. Because if we don't, we might float up to the stars. That's a reference from Thank You, Mr. Fokker, if you guys have read that book. Then she leaned over and kissed us both 3 times. I kiss your eyes. I hold both of your hearts in my good keeping. And this night, I thank God that I walk this earth with both of you. Amen. Then we all just lay on our blankets in the gentle summer night. I'll always be 4 years older than you, though, my brother whispered softly, then smiled. All of us held one another's hands, and then we all drifted off to sleep. So what I would like to ask you at the end of this is, what is the lesson that both of our main characters seem to learn? What lesson did they learn in this story? I want you to write that down in your notebook or on your whiteboard. What was the lesson that Richie and Trisha learned? Going to give you about 30 more seconds to write down your response. It can be caveman talk. It doesn't have to be in complete sentences.